All right, let's get this show started.
Hi, Nikita.
Hi, Lina. How are you?
I'm so much better that you're here.
Are you excited for
I'm
our first
so excited.
podcast episode?
We've been talking about this for so long. I'm so glad it's here. There's so many people that are like waiting for this.
Is that scary?
It is a little scary. Now I'm wondering like, what actually are we allowed to talk about? Because the people that we're going to talk about are going to be listening to us talk about them.
I'm okay with it because I have nothing. Yeah. It's more you that I'm concerned about.
Well, it's great because these days, I don't care. I don't care about anybody or anything. So they can all listen to me say, I don't care. It's fine. It's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be
terrible idea. I'm in.
High five.
Yes.
All right, so let's start by introducing ourselves. Yes. Do you want to go first?
I will go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Lina. It's very nice to meet you, viewers. Nikita, she's my BFF. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to talk about how we met.
My name's Nikita, and we have been friends for, oh my god, what has it been? 9 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a little bit about me real quick. I'm a mom. I have 2 girls. I am a single mom at that, too.
Mm. We share that in common.
We do.
Yeah.
But you only have one.
I only have one. Also single mom. She is 16, though, so
you do have a daughter.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
I know, I'm not that far behind. My oldest is 10, and my little one's 8. Lord help me.
Yeah. You're going to have one going into middle school. I'm going to have one going into her senior year of high school, getting ready for college.
Is that not insane?
Am I not old enough to have a kid that's going to college?
I mean, you are younger than me, so why do you have a kid going into college?
Because I made really bad life decisions when I was like 18, and nobody stopped me. Like, where were you? Why weren't we friends then?
Ask my brother.
No. Oh my god. That's a great story. Yeah. So I think like God definitely made us friends and not sisters because no mom could ever handle the 2 of us as daughters.
Could you imagine?
It'd be really bad.
I don't know. I don't know if I would want my mom to be our mom or your mom to be our mom.
Oh my god, what if our moms were gay moms raising us together? That would have been great. We could be like, hi moms. Yeah, that would have been crazy. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know that we should be giving marriage advice or talking about who should be raising us because you've been married 3 times.
Oh, thanks.
So, you know, like I said, all of our children are in therapy collectively.
But
so we're doing good.
I've been married 3 times, like you said. You've been married once, and we both have kids with 1 baby daddy.
That's true.
So
that's true.
We did something right.
Yeah. Even though you might think otherwise from the name of the show, Nikita and Lina.
All right, so let's start from the beginning.
Daddy. Yes.
Yeah, 1 baby daddy. How did we become friends?
Okay, so we actually became friends because I tried to steal your baby.
Oh, God, I remember this.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I was a cheer mom, right?
Well, we both were.
Yeah. I didn't want to be. I tried everything. For 4 years, I put my kid into everything other than cheer because I did not want to be a cheer mom. So anyway.
We started with cheer. We are no longer in the cheer world, though.
So, we were at, like, this cheer fundraiser thing in a parking lot. It was like a carnival. And I saw...
It was the kickoff event.
It was.
Yeah.
And I saw this baby in a stroller, and I walked over and I was like, excuse me, would you mind if I looked at your baby? And I think he looked at me like I had 5 heads, and I'm like, oh, she's so cute, she's so cute. And I was like, I swear it's okay, like, I'm a fellow mom, I have a kid, here's my kid. And we kind of started chit-chatting, and I was like, I just really love babies. And you're like, oh, well, I have another one. I'm like, oh my god, she's so cute. And my daughter, she has always loved the littles ever since she was a little. She's always taken to the littles. So she really kind of hit it off with your kids right off the bat.
Yeah, they did.
And we just kind of stayed in touch. And I was like, I don't need any friends, and I don't want to be friends with any cheer moms. But, like, you were just really nice and really cool.
Because I wasn't a typical cheer mom.
Yeah.
But I was also a new cheer mom at that point.
That's true.
So I really didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Right.
But even years into it, because my kids did cheer for, 4 years at this point now? They don't cheer anymore. But I don't think I was ever that cheer mom.
Yeah, so in case our listeners don't know who that cheer mom is, that's the mom who's like living vicariously through their kids. Usually they're a little bit overweight. They want their kids to be, you know, the top flyer, the best cheer girl on the team. They're the ones who are talking about all of the other kids. Oh, and then there's the plastic cheer moms.
This sounds like
Mean Girls. Yeah. No, but it's true.
Plastics,
so there's the group of the plastics. Those are all the not single moms. They're all the married moms. They are single moms now, but they weren't at the time.
Hello.
None of them work. Yeah. But you weren't one of them because you were.
True. I was married at the time.
Yeah. They all like look down and frown upon the moms that actually have to work because they're pulling up in their Range Rovers and their Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
And they're sitting there in their little cliques and they're talking about the kids and like, oh my god, the reason that stunt group full is because it's Caitlin. Caitlin's terrible. She's the worst. I don't know why they have her in that stunt group. They should move her. And I'm like walking up to them. I'm like, do you feel better about yourselves? You're 40-something years old and you're talking about an 8-year-old. Like, is your life okay? And that's why I never made any friends at the cheer gym, other than you. Because they were the classics, and then there were the let me live vicariously through my kid, because I was never able to do that when I was a kid kind of thing. So we always steer clear. I always did like drop off and pick up at the curb. I did not want to step foot into the gym.
I didn't have that luxury at that
yours
point.
were too little.
Mine were too little at that point.
Yeah. Mine was old enough, and I was like, you can go. I'll watch you walk in.
Our last year of cheer at our last gym, we had reached sidewalk drop off. Yeah. It was so great. I sat in the truck. I'm like, bye. Have fun.
It's even better when you do the carpool, and all you have to do is a drop off or a pick up, and you really don't need to know anybody. Like, that's my jam. I could totally get down with that.
I could get down with that too.
Yeah. And it just sucks too, like in the whole cheer world, having to like switch gyms. So we initially started with Pop Warner cheer, right? So that was like for the city, the whole thing. And I got roped into coaching that team.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. So that happened. And then we went from Pop Warner, we went to Rec Cheer, and then we went from Rec to All-Star. And our first All-Star gym was like ran by Lucifer herself. It's a woman, in case you didn't know. It's a woman. And that was terrible. We barely made it the whole year, and thank God COVID hit that year. So our cheer season was cut 2 months short. I don't know that we would have made it the extra 2 months. And then we had to switch to another All-Star gym. So there was that.
Yeah, we did the gym that we met at, and then we switched right before COVID, and then COVID hit, and that was interesting. Cheer? Did they try to cheer?
Yeah.
Your gym tried to cheer during COVID?
Yeah.
Was it not the weirdest thing? They're like, yeah, get on FaceTime. I'm like, my kids are in Arizona. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, we're
like,
not doing this. This is not going to be a thing.
I'm 3 hours behind.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we finished, we only did the 2 cheer gyms though, so we didn't have that crazy.
Well, I think we should talk about what happened at the cheer competition when we like really became friends.
Oh, you mean when I solidified our friendship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So your little one, who's probably...
She was about 6-8 months at that time.
Yeah, definitely under a year. And she was just kind of like sitting on the floor and was like playing with us, and you're feeding her something.
Doritos,
yeah. Because what kind of mom feeds their 6-month-old Doritos, by the way? Like, I'm not that I'm going to judge.
Wait, was she had to be about a year.
She was 8 months old when we had met.
Yeah, no, so she had, that's true.
She's probably about a year old.
She had to be at least a year old, because she was walking, too.
Yeah.
So, no, she had to be about 13, 14 months old, because she didn't start walking until after she was 12 months.
Okay.
So, she had to be about 14 months old.
So, she's sitting on the floor, and she's just kind of, like, playing with us and interacting with us, and Nikki's giving her Doritos, and all of a sudden, this kid starts to choke. And I start to freeze, right? Which is against everything that I believe in, because considering what I do for a living, right?
Did you freeze or did you start to freak?
Well, I froze and then I freaked.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I didn't know what to do, and my heart started racing, and I'm like, the baby's gonna die, oh my God. And then Nikita swoops in, right? And she takes this kid, and she fish hooks into the kid's mouth, and is like, whoop! And like, smacks the kid's back. This thing comes flying out, and the kid's like, heh, 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 heh. And I'm like, oh my God, baby's gonna die. And Nikita's like, Lina, it's okay. It's fine. She's fine. And I'm like, she's okay. But I'm not okay.
I was like, she's gonna be fine.
And then after that, I was like, I have to have this woman in my life, because what if I die one day? Like, I like Doritos. I eat Doritos. What if I choke on a Dorito and I almost die one day?
I think you're gonna die from something other than Doritos with the way your life has been going.
Well, I hope it's exciting, right? So, like, that's why I went diving with sharks last week, right? Because if something's gonna happen to me, I want to, like,
you want to go out in a cool way.
Local girl dies by getting eaten by shark in Florida, you know?
Local.
Yeah. I don't want it to be like local girl dies choking on flapjacks, right? Like, that wouldn't be a good headline.
Because Nikita wasn't there
to save my life. Exactly. Speaking of obituaries, why do they never say why somebody dies?
Oh, I wrote your obituary.
You did. Because the past me is old and gone. She's dead.
Yes.
Yeah. So everybody likes
buried her.
She's gone. It was a beautiful eulogy.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. It definitely made me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Did you cry?
I did, a little bit.
A little?
Yeah, I had to mourn and grieve the loss of who I used to be, but who I am now is so much better. Yeah.
It's definitely more entertaining from my end.
I'm entertaining everybody right now, and I'm so happy. Like, I'm actually happy, and I'm doing things for me for, like, the first time ever. I feel like I've always lived for somebody else.
You have. And rightfully, you really have. You know, I've known you now 8 years, and I've watched from the outside. And I can genuinely say you always put people before you.
Thanks, bestie. You know, there have been ex-husbands, there have been ex-boyfriends, there have been foster children, there's been my biological daughter, there's been friends and friends' kids and all that stuff. So, like, I consider your kids, like, my nieces or, you know, my second baby.
Well,
so.
they call you Aunt Lina.
Yeah,
so.
that's me. So, yeah, we'll get into all of those things and why the old me had to die for the new me to be regenerated and all that good stuff. But I mean, there's just so much to come.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting. I love living vicariously through you because the shit that comes out of your mouth sometimes.
Sometimes I'm just as surprised as you are by the things that come out of my mouth. And like, are you ever scared when you get a text message from me?
Sometimes.
You're like,
yeah. I need to actually. I need to actually change my ringtone for when you text me, so I know if
you know what's coming.
Yeah, so I know
warning.
if I need to like brace myself or if this is like a normal.
Yeah,
like everything's okay.
Yeah,
like
I feel like so. You know how everybody says I need a vacation for my vacation.
Always.
Yeah. So I actually did that, right?
Is that what we're calling this?
Yeah, that's what it was, right? So I came back from a 12-day vacation, which
over Thanksgiving.
Yes,
yeah,
which was amazing. So we flew into Florida, spent a night there, and then we did a cruise, which
you tried to recruit me for.
I did. I tried to make you go with me because I had a double room and I was just there by myself. So I'm like, just come.
Well, you weren't there by yourself. You were there with your family. You were in your room by yourself.
Yes.
Let's
so
clarify that.
There were 8 of us. We had family from New Jersey, from Delaware, from Montana. Like, it was a whole big old family cruise.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It was also my dad's birthday, who he shares a birthday with me.
And your birthday.
So it was both of our birthdays. So afterwards, we did an Airbnb in Florida for 3 or 4 nights, which was amazing.
Yeah. And you sent me pictures and a video of the house, and it was gorgeous.
Right?
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. I didn't want to come home.
I don't blame you.
There's a pool, there's a hot tub, there's a pool table. Like, it's just...
And it was brutally cold the week you were gone.
I feel like I picked a really good week to be away.
And I think it rained, if I remember correctly.
I heard it rains back home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just didn't want to come back home. I have a friend who moved down to Florida 2.5 years ago. I hadn't seen him, so we got to see each other. So that was awesome. That was really great. So when I got back, this guy had sent me a message and was like, "Hey, you're in Florida. Like, let's get together." And I'm like, I just got back home today. And he's like, "Oh, well, come back."
You're like, "Can you watch Kaya?"
See, here's one of the things that the viewers don't know about me yet. So my nickname is the Invite Queen because if you invite me, I will go. That's my life.
Yeah, you will.
And
Absolutely.
invited, we'll travel. So I've ended up in some really weird situations before, right? Like, I've crashed bachelorette parties in Miami. I've gone to weddings in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, I just crashed a Sweet 16 birthday party.
I can't wait to hear about this. This is good.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, if you invite me somewhere, I'm going to go. So if you don't mean it, don't invite me. Say it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he's like, "Well, you should come back." And I was like, "Okay, like, what airport do I fly into?" And he's like, "Palm Beach." And I'm like, "Okay, well, please." And first thing I do is I text you.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, Nikita, can you watch my dog?" And you're like, "Yeah."
What?
No.
I said, "Well, what dates?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sent you
I had to
dates.
make sure the dates worked for me.
And you were like, "Yeah, no, I'm in." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm going to go back to Florida." You're like,
but wait, do you remember what I said?
Remind me.
Do you remember the stipulation?
Oh, I needed to turn my location services on.
You needed to share your location with me.
Although, let's let the viewers know, it's not like I was going with some rando who I didn't know, right?
No, but you were going with some rando who you didn't know, who you hadn't talked to in 3 months, who you knew.
I did know. He wasn't a rando.
Yeah, but he was a rando in layman's terms because you hadn't talked to him in 3 months.
Well, it was like 5 months, but who's counting?
Okay, so even better. 5 months.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we knew each other. I met his brother and his sister-in-law. He met my parents and my family. So, like, we had known each other. We just kind of, like...
Ghosted each other.
We ghosted each other, basically. Yeah, which is fine. Like, no hard feelings.
Yeah.
So when he invited me back, and I was like, "All right, well, where am I going to stay?" He's like, "You're going to stay with me." I'm like, "Okay, cool. It'll be fine." So we went, and he had asked me, he's like, "Would you ever go diving with sharks?" And I was like,
yes.
"Hell, I won't. Let's do it." So this is something I'd always wanted to do. And anytime I asked somebody, they were like, "Are you out of your... Are I allowed to curse on here? I don't know what's that. Oh, are you out of your fucking mind?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but that's beside the point. Like, are you going to swim with sharks with me or not? Like, what does that have anything to do?" Like, that's like me asking you, like, "What's the weather outside today?" And you're like, "I like purple." Like, it makes no sense. I said, "Do you want to go swimming with sharks with me?" And you ask if I'm out of my fucking mind. The two things have nothing to do with one another. So I'm like, yes. Yes, I want to go swimming with sharks. This is something I've always wanted to do. Nobody would do it with me. So in the past, like, I've asked other people, I'm like, "All right, well, what if we went in a cage?" And they're like, "Sharks can bite through cages." And I'm like, "Do you know that, though? Like, do you really know that?"
Mm-hmm.
So he asked me if I would do it, and I was like, yes. And I didn't want to take any chances, so I booked it on the spot, and I was like, "I'm booked. Book it, bro." So we did.
Book it, bro.
Yeah. So we did it. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We We are
How
7
long
miles.
were you actually in the water with the sharks for?
We were in the water for an hour.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, it was a whole hour. So we drove out on the boat 7 miles into international waters, at which point I started realizing, like, this is probably why it's not legal to do this in America and why we're so far out in the middle of the water. I also, for the first time in my life, didn't read the waiver, right? So, like, I've been working in the legal field for over 20 years.
You didn't read the waiver?
I did not. And that is so...
That's not like you.
It's not like me.
You
but
didn't tell me this.
That's also the old me, right?
True.
She's dead, right? So, new me...
Yeah, this is true.
Is like, I'm not reading the waiver because if I know all the things that can happen, all I'm going to think about are all the things that can happen. And I'm not doing that. I'm not living like that anymore.
Right.
I'm doing the things that I want to do. So I just signed the waiver. We're 7 miles out into international waters, and now they're like getting us dressed, right? So they're handing everybody these black long sleeve, almost like rash guards. And I'm kind of looking at them like, why are we all wearing black rash guards? And they're like, well, because you don't want to look like a fish. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, all your different colored bathing suits, like, is like tropical, you look like fish. So like most fish aren't black, so they'll know you're not a fish.
Right.
So I'm like, ooh, that's a little scary. Okay, all right, I'm gonna put the black shirt on. The black shirt on. They put our flippers on and everything.
Were the flippers black too?
Flippers were black.
Okay.
Yep. So they call us over to the side of the boat, and at this point, they're throwing over fish for like bait into the water. And Nikita, within seconds, there were fins. Like, doo-doo, doo-doo. I mean,
Jaws.
swirling in circles by the side of the boat. And it's like so counterintuitive to everything you ever think about going swimming, right? So like we grew up by the Jersey Shore. It's like, hey, you see a fin, you get the fuck out of the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Here it's like, there's fins. Who's
Jump
going in?
in.
Me. I'm going in. Let me go into both fins. So the captain of the boat is like, all right, who wants to go first? I'm like, me, I want to go first. So he's like, all right. So he tells me to sit at the edge of the boat. So I'm sitting at the edge of the boat. And he's like, all right. He's like, you're going to get in the water. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to jump in. He's like, no, don't jump. Make as little splash as possible. And that's when I was like, I'm definitely going to die. So like, I'm like slithering off of the boat.
I can just imagine.
Going in like as little as I can into the water.
Like a snake.
Yes.
Like...
So I get under the water and I open my eyes and there are...
Wait. You went in the water with your eyes closed with goggles on. Why?
I think it's just kind of like habit. Like when you jump in the water, you close your eyes.
Not when you have goggles on.
No, not usually. But I don't usually have goggles on because I'm not like 8. I don't go swimming with goggles all the time. So this is like not normal.
My 8-year-old would be
right?
lost without her goggles.
See? Yeah. So like that was probably the last time like I wore goggles regularly, you know?
Right.
So like I go in the water, I like slide in, I close my eyes, and I open my eyes and I see 9 bull sharks, which are the most aggressive species of shark behind the great white, right?
Okay, so this is fun.
And then I go to breathe, and then I realize I didn't put my mouthpiece in. So now I have a whole mouthful of salt, and I start freaking out, and there's 9 bull sharks, and I'm like, there's like water everywhere. So like I
so
pop up to the surface,
making any
right?
splashes.
Yeah. It was like a whole thing. And then the captain's like, swim out. And I'm like, I can't even breathe. So I finally get the mouthpiece back in my mouth and I like take a second and I regroup and I'm like, all right, I'm fine. So then I like dive back under and I swim all the way out and it was just incredible. Sharks everywhere, fish everywhere. It was like one of the coolest experiences.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah. No, you sent me the pictures you got and I was looking at them and the pictures looked awesome. So I can only imagine how awesome the experience was. So that's cool though.
So I had actually gone swimming with dolphins probably like 5 or 6 times before.
I've done that. Yeah. And I've done stingrays too.
Yeah. I thought that was like one of the most incredible experiences of my life, getting to interact with the dolphins. Not that you really get to interact with sharks. I mean, the shark lady did tell me, she's like, if the shark gets too close to you, she's like, very slowly just extend your hand out from your body and put it on the shark's mouth and just redirect the shark. And I'm like, the fuck?
Redirect
the shark with your hand on its mouth.
That sounds like a good idea.
So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do that. If the shark gets that close to me, it can have me, right?
Yeah.
It can eat me. I'm not doing that, right? Kind of like
is your
if
will up to date?
Yes.
Am I executor?
I don't have an executor. I just have beneficiaries. So maybe I do need to change that. Well, I have it as my mom because nobody else like family-wise deserves it. So yeah, I should definitely add you though, because the chances of you outliving my mom are probably really, really good.
Probably.
Yeah. And I would have some like good stuff to leave you and the girls, you know?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, that would hard. Hello.
Of course
So
they
sorry,
would.
somebody else wanted to join our podcast.
Yeah, the dogs want to join.
Yeah. So we have 2 dogs.
Upstairs.
Between the 2 of us.
One's crazier than the other.
Yeah. Is that like the story of us too? Is there a crazier one between the 2 of us?
You. At this point, it's definitely you.
Oh yeah.
I would say it was me in the beginning.
Yeah. The tides have changed.
Oh yeah.
You see what I did there with the water?
Now that we've killed off
Yes.
The former you.
The former me. Lina is here to stay.
Oh, Lord help us all.
But I think everybody's here for it.
I mean, it's definitely been interesting.
There are a couple people who have complained. They think I'm like reckless and they think that I'm like throwing away my life. So one is my dad.
Well, that's your dad. What do you expect?
After I left my parents' house and I showed them pictures of me swimming with the sharks, my mom calls me and she's like, I was just talking to Daddy and, you know, Daddy thinks that you're just being a little reckless and you're making some bad life decisions. And I'm like,
bad life decisions. You already made the bad life decisions.
Like, yeah, I'm out of all my bad life decisions. I'm finally making good decisions, right? So I'm like, why does he feel that way? And she's like, you know, because you're swimming with sharks. And I'm like, but did Daddy not hear the part where I said, for all these years I've been asking people to do it with me? Like, it's not like I just want to do it now because of all this craziness happening in my life.
Right. This is not a coping mechanism. This is something I've always... This is a bucket list item.
Right. And I was like, well, wait, wasn't Daddy, like, infantry in the army? I guess he was suicidal, right? Like, wasn't he in foxholes getting shot at, right? Like, oh my God, he smokes, like, 3 packs of cigarettes a day. That seems pretty reckless to me. And he wakes up with Jack every morning. Like, Jack and Johnny, like, are his BFFs. Like, really? Do we want to throw stones? One of my other friends is kind of like, I know where you're at in life. Like, I want better for you because I was there when I was your age and I know what you're doing and I know why you're doing it. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm going on free vacations with guys that are actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying my life and I'm doing all the things that I wanted to do that I didn't ever have the opportunity to do. So, like, I'm good. So any viewers who are concerned about me, I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
And I just sit back and I encourage.
Yeah. And I eat the popcorn and you watch the dogs so I can
like
travel.
That meme with the girl eating the popcorn. And I'm like,
let's hear. Yeah. But no, it's great. You have my location, right? So that was one of the stipulations.
That was, I was like, yeah, I'll take Kaya, but you have to give me your location because if you die or somebody steals you, I need to be able to find you.
Right. Which is fine. So I very willingly gave you my location.
You did. Yeah.
You were able to track me. And coincidentally enough, he lives right near where your dad used to live in Florida.
Yeah, so you went to Stewart. You were in Stewart, right?
Yeah.
So my dad used to live in Port St. Lucie, and then prior to that, he used to live on Hutchinson Island in Jensen Beach.
Okay.
So you're like, yeah, I'm going to Stewart. And you're like, I'm going to PBI. No, I'm sorry. You were like, I'm going to West Palm Beach. I'm like, oh, PBI. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's the airport code. And then you're like, yeah, we're going to Stewart. I'm like, oh, well, you have to go. Did you guys go to the taco place?
We didn't, but he had been there before and he knew exactly what you're talking about. I think we just didn't have enough time because we were like trying to fit everything in.
This is so good.
Yeah, we did a lot in those 3 days that we were
there. Yeah, you did. You did.
So he was a very good tour guide. Showed me all around Florida, which was
good.
Really nice.
Yeah, because the best was you guys were rolling down A1A and you sent me the picture of that like mansion house with
the Christmas lights. Yeah, amazing.
And I'm like, hey, are you on A1A? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, I've passed that house before.
So you know what was crazy? While we were driving by the house, I was like, do you think he would find it weird, disrespectful if I asked him to stop so I could knock on the door and see if they had a son? Yeah. He probably not would have taken
do you hear
well.
The herd of elephants upstairs?
I do. It sounds like the Lion King is running above us.
Oh my God, these dogs, they're nuts.
Yeah, I can just kind of hear them being sacrificed over cliffs upstairs.
Yeah. Simba.
Nala. I always wanted to have a dog and name it Simba.
Well, you have a dog and you named it Kaya.
Yeah, but she's a girl. Simba's a boy.
Nobody needs to know that.
But I feel like everybody knows that. Hasn't everybody watched The Lion King?
Well, haven't you ever heard of the name Ryan for a girl? Ryan is typically a boy's name.
I don't do Ryans.
What's another? There was another.
I think you of all people
Taylor.
Know. I don't do Ryans.
I know. But then there's Taylor. Taylor can go either way.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about people or things that can go either way. Especially
that's a topic
for when they're partners of mine.
That is a conversation for another day.
If anybody's ever scared of going through their man's phone because they're going to find another man in it, I've been there. I'm here for you.
She has been there.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you do want to get in contact with us, we have an email address that you guys can reach us at.
And that is?
2 voices, 1 vibe. So it's the number 2 and the number 1. So 2 voices, 1 vibe @gmail.com.
Yeah, so feel free to send emails, send in questions, whatever you have on your mind.
If you have questions about anything that we talked about today, or you're like, hey, what's that thing you mentioned about Ryan's, or, you know,
Taylor's,
yeah.
Taylor Lautner and Taylor Swift. Remember when they dated? Taylor and Taylor.
Oh, I do remember that. That was like a long time
ago,
How
weird
right?
would that be, though? Like two people together with the same name, opposite sex.
Yeah. Well, I guess it could happen with like a Pat and a Pat. Like a Patrick and a Patricia.
Yeah.
That could be a Pat and a Pat.
So yeah, if you have any questions, if you have to share something with us, if you want...
Oh, yeah.
Send us an email at 2voices1vibe@gmail.com.
Yeah. That'd be great. No, I would love to hear if you guys have any perspective to add to what we're talking about, or if you have any of your own crazy stories. I tell Nikita all the time, I love watching trash TV and like reality TV shows because they make me feel so much better about my life. So if you have any crazy that you can add, so I'm like, see, it's not just me.
And we were just talking about Married at First Sight and the crazy that is this season. So we can talk about that maybe in the next episode.
Yeah, Married at First Sight is definitely one of our jams. We always get together, like watch Mass this week, and then we talk about it. Faces and hair and all sorts of things.
Extensions.
Yeah.
Because, neither one of us has extensions.
No, I don't have extensions. This is my hair. I bought it. It's mine.
Liar.
No, I said I bought it and it's mine. Do you know that I named the girl who gave it to me?
Yeah. Tell the friends.
So apparently it's 100% Asian hair.
Asian hair.
So I kept thinking, because every night I go to bed with someone's hair on me, literally on me. And as I touch it, I'm like, I want to bond with her. Like, who is she? I wonder what she looks like. And I think about her, and I had to give her a name because it was weird that I think about this woman every night and I don't know who she is. So her name's Lily.
And what did you name mine?
Lulu. Yeah.
Lulu and Lily.
Yeah. So they're sisters, clearly. And they grew their hair.
Why wouldn't they be?
Right. And they grew their hair for us, which is pretty amazing.
And they're pretty close in color.
Yeah, they're similar. I think mine's called chiffon.
I don't know what mine's called.
Yeah, but I love it. I can't live without it now. Because I used to have really long hair.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then COVID happened, and then stress happened, and then
surgeries happened.
All sorts of stuff happened, and my hair started to fall out, and I just didn't feel like myself anymore.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we had reconnected.
Yeah.
And you had told me that you had extensions, and I was like, I wish I could get them, but my hair's too thin. And you're like, no.
I know somebody.
Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way. And I was like, my hair, though, it's like, it's breaking and it's unhealthy. And you're like, no, you can do
My
this.
hair was breaking and unhealthy. And I mean, I showed you the pictures just recently because I just got my new extensions and I got them put in. And the girl who does my hair, who also does your hair, she did a before and after, and she sent them to me. I've been wearing extensions now for 2 years. So when she first did my extensions, she had taken a picture of my hair, and then she sent that to me with this last time that I was there, a picture of my hair without the extension. And the growth that my hair has taken is amazing.
Yeah.
So
no, it looks fabulous. You always had really great hair though to begin with. Your hair was always
I did until kids.
Yeah.
And then after the kids, everything went to shit.
Yeah. They really screw you up, huh?
Well, you know what really screwed me up?
Kids.
So, well, besides the kids. In between my two girls, I had the ectopic. And I developed a thyroid issue. I have Hashimoto's. And I didn't know that at the time. So that's what really destroyed my
That'll do
hormones.
it for sure.
Yeah.
But those kids, man. Things that people never tell you. Like, I remember my mom telling me, when I was pregnant, she's like, it's going to be the best time of your life.
I hated being pregnant.
Your hair is going to be growing so long, and your nails are going to be strong, and your skin's going to be clear, and it's going to be glowing. And I remember being, like, uber pregnant, like, super duper pregnant, and, like, going to my mom being like, when am I going to start enjoying this? Because I have a 2-week-old baby still inside of me, and this is awful. Like, get this baby out. It's terrible.
Yeah, I had easy pregnancies. Both of my pregnancies were easy.
Yeah, well, you didn't even know you were pregnant for like, your second pregnancy, like, most of it.
Yeah. We'll get to that. No, but both of my pregnancies were easy. Deliveries were a disaster. But I hated being pregnant. I just hated it. I did not, and listen, I know there's people out there who can't get pregnant and they want nothing more. And my heart breaks for those people. But then I also know there's people out there who are like, oh, I love being pregnant. It's the best thing in the world. And I'm like, no, not for me. Not for me.
No, it was terrible. I was so ugly when I was pregnant. And I don't use the word ugly. Like, we were raised like ugly is a curse word. It's a terrible word. I didn't know your nose can swell. Like, literally, I would sneeze and my ex-husband would be like, take cover! Like, it was that
No, see,
bad.
I didn't have any of those problems. And my first daughter, my pregnancy, no problems with it. It was a complete not planned pregnancy, but, whatever, shit happens.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, a surprise, exactly. Best surprise of my life, don't get me wrong. But
Don't tell your second one that.
Oh, we'll get to that one. She's a honey badger. But anyway, I was 36 weeks pregnant, and my water broke, like, randomly. And I remember I called my doctor. I'm like, my water broke. They're like, what makes you think that? I'm like, the fact that there's water all over the floor?
Yeah. Just a thought.
I mean, I think that's what that is.
It's not
I didn't just pee myself.
Yeah.
And then with the second one, like you said, I didn't even know I was pregnant until I was 22 weeks. Dude, I was doing shots of tequila and drinking margaritas.
Well, that explains a lot about the honey badger.
Oh, she is a honey badger. I love that kid, though.
Yeah.
I love both my girls. You know this.
I love them, too.
No.
They're really good kids.
They are.
Yeah. I stopped by the other day. I had a half day, and I brought them McDonald's. And when I walked in, you would think I was like Lord Savior Jesus Christ himself, like incarnate. I got hugs, I got smiles, I got thank yous, I got the whole nine. And then when I went to leave, your little one was like, but why are you leaving? And I was like, well, because my cousin's coming over. I have to leave. And she's like, but I want you to stay. And I'm like, well, then why didn't you invite me?
I'm surprised she didn't try to like get you to take her with her.
Aw, no, she was, I think, busy because she was talking to her friends. And,
Oh, was she playing Roblox?
yeah, we had the whole like FaceTime thing happening on the cell phone. We had the whole tablet thing going. It was like a whole setup.
Yeah, they had a half day on, what was that, Friday, right?
Friday,
Yeah, they had a half day and it's called survival.
Yeah.
But we were in survival mode Friday.
It was cute. They were definitely happy to see me. Which,
yeah, they always are though.
They are. Yeah.
So
they're generally always in a good mood. So one of the funny things I realized when I was pregnant, so everybody knows the term barefoot and pregnant.
yes.
So I just thought it was like this really old antiquated saying from like the 1940s and 1950s because the woman is in the kitchen and she's barefoot because she's cooking and cleaning and doing all the things. No, bitch, you barefoot because your shoes don't fit. Like,
I didn't have that problem either.
Lord Almighty, everything on my body swelled. My
Really?
feet were swollen.
Well, you know,
my nose was swollen.
Did you get preeclampsia?
I did.
So I with my first one, I didn't. Picture perfect health-wise pregnancy. Delivery was a disaster, like I said.
No, everything that could have went wrong when I was pregnant.
Yeah, no, and even my second one, like I said, I didn't know until it was 22 weeks, but then 14 weeks later, I developed preeclampsia. My mom was getting ready to move out to Arizona at the time, and I distinctly, to this day, remember saying to her, Mom, don't leave. She's like, well, why? I go, because you're going to leave, and I'm going to have this baby.
Yeah.
No, I didn't tell her something was going to happen. I'm like, you're going to leave, and I'm going to have this baby. She's like, oh, no, you'll be fine. I'll be back. Now, I was scheduled C-section the day after Thanksgiving, and it was Halloween weekend. Went to the doctor. I was supposed to go to daycare for the older one's Halloween parade, but I had to go to the doctor first. So I went to the doctor and was hanging out, whatever, and the doctor's like, there's protein in your urine. I was like, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
like, no, that's actually not a good thing.
And I knew it wasn't. I was like, oh, of course there is. Like, why wouldn't there be? You know, I have to go to my kid's thing tonight. You know, it makes sense. He's like, yeah, you're going to have to go to the hospital. I was like, great, thanks. So I get out of the doctor's office and I go to my car and my first phone call. Not to my husband at the time.
Yeah, to your mom.
To my mom.
Yeah.
So she answers the phone. She goes, oh, how'd your doctor's appointment go? I told you. I didn't even say hi. I'm like, I told you. What did I tell you? She goes, what are you talking about? I said to you, you leave and I'm going to have this baby. She's like, you're not having the baby. I said, I am on my way to the hospital right now. She's like, well, why? I said, because I'm going to have this baby. Now, I didn't know I was going to have this baby that day.
Yeah.
You know,
but you were going to tell her you were having
I was just trying to make my mom feel bad.
Yeah.
So I go to the hospital. I have protein in my urine and I'm sitting there. And then this is the part that kills me. All of a sudden, the nurse comes in and she's like, there's somebody here by this name and they want to know if they can come in. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. It was my brother. My brother showed up at the hospital. So he comes walking in. I'm like, why are you here? He goes, Mommy called me and told me you were in the hospital and that your now ex-husband was at work and she asked me to come sit with you. I was like, oh.
Was it awkward?
No, it really wasn't because we were my brother and I, as distant as we are, we're close. Like, we both know if there was something wrong, we'll be there for each other. And Mommy was in Arizona. My dad was in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, my ex-husband was at work, and he had just started his job at the time. So, you know, I had called him and told him what was going on. He's like, do I leave? I'm like, no, don't leave yet. Because I didn't know.
I'll call you.
Yeah, I was like, let me find out what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm having the baby. I said, I called Mommy, told her I was having the baby, but I'm not really having the baby.
Yeah.
Then 12 hours later, then I'm in, they take me for an ultrasound, and my brother's with me. He's like, do you want me to go with you? I was like, yeah, that's fine, you can come. So the doctor does the ultrasound, and you can hear the baby, see the baby, and he says to me, he's like, so we're going to take you to the OR, and we're going to have to take the baby. And my brother turns around and he goes, when's this happening? And I looked at him, I'm like, now? He's like, I ain't going in there. I'm like, you don't have to go in there. It's fine.
You're like, but you can call my husband
yeah,
now, and
I was
you can
like,
let him know now's a good time.
Yeah, you need to make a phone call and
Yeah.
tell him he needs to come.
Yeah.
And he made it, thank God. But yeah, it was quite the adventure.
So do you think now would be a good time to talk about the adventure about your brother's wedding?
Oh. Yeah, God.
Yeah. Okay. So, crazy story. We just explained how we met 8-something years ago at the girls' cheer function. So, we start chit-chatting. We become Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
I realized
You
that...
screenshotted.
Yeah. I realized that we had a mutual friend in common.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder how in the world she knows this person. Because it's a really random way, the way that I know him. So
right.
I wonder how she knows him. So I screenshot the mutual friend in common. And I sent it to Nikita. And I was like, hey, how do you know him? And all of a sudden, I get a text message back that goes, no, how do you know him? Tell me how you know him. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, I didn't sleep with him. We don't have to worry about that. Like, that didn't happen. So, like, you would think, like, her mama bear claws came out, but it was, like, her sister bear claws because it was actually her brother.
It was my brother.
So, it was really weird. So, the craziest story, when I was in high school, I was friends with a girl whose sister married Nikita's brother. I don't know if you guys followed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it's now my brother's ex-wife.
Yeah, your brother's ex-wife.
Yeah.
So, she asked me, she's like, hey, do you want to come to my sister's wedding? And I was like...
The sister.
So yes, my friend.
Okay.
My friend.
Yeah, because you were friends with the sister.
With her sister.
Yeah.
So my friend asks me, do you want to come to my sister's wedding? And I already told you, I'm the invite queen, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, are you sure your sister's okay with it? And she's like, yeah, she's fine with it. I'm like, what about like your brother-in-law to be? And he's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not going to be like a fancy wedding or anything.
Yeah, no, because they did a Justice of the Peace thing. And,
yeah. And then we kind of like went to this restaurant.
We went to dinner, yeah.
So I was like, as long as they're okay with it, like, yeah, I'll come. So I went with my friend to this wedding. So Nikita was there because it was her brother's wedding. So we didn't know each other there, but we were both at the same place at the same time. And then I actually became pretty close with your old sister-in-law. So I would hang out there with your nieces and nephews.
Which was just weird.
Which is the weirdest thing. Like, I would change their diapers and I would play with them and everything. And then, you know, obviously I went away to college.
And we never crossed paths there.
We never crossed paths.
Weird,
it was really just at the wedding. And then at cheer all those years later. Mm-hmm. So me and my friend, we had lost touch. We went to college and life took us in our separate ways and everything. And then all those years later, you and I had connected and then we put together that connection from
Facebook.
I was probably about 16 when I went to your brother's wedding.
I was not 16.
Yeah. You were probably 21. Yeah. So...
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, like, super weird, super crazy how that happened. So, randomly was in the same place, same time as you. I was at your brother's wedding. You were at your brother's wedding.
Crazy.
And then we reconnected and actually met each other during the cheer thing. And then life kind of brought us back together after kids were different ages and in different places and at different cheer gyms. So, it's just a really weird story. But definitely, if you believe in fate or coincidence or whatever
even after we met at cheer and like really became friends, you know, like you just said, life takes you in different directions. And not that we were ever not friends,
right?
But
we just weren't as close,
right? Because you were busy doing your thing with your daughter and your life, and I was busy doing my thing with my babies. And COVID really screwed a lot of things up
for sure.
You know, when COVID hit, I was considered essential. My ex-husband was considered essential. So we were working. Yeah. We were going to work because we can't work from home.
Right.
We had 2 babies at the time, you know, so they actually went out to my mother's in Arizona for 4 months. Yeah. You know, so we were stressed out with that, not knowing when we were going to see our kids. Our kids didn't understand what was going on. Right. You know, and God only knows what you were going through. You know, and everybody...
I had foster kids at the time.
Yes.
So I had 2 foster kids. So I was a single mom raising 3 kids, special needs as well. So there was a lot going on there. Plus, I was working mostly from home, but I did COVID compliance at the time. Yes. So I was responsible for all things COVID at my company. So you could just imagine how crazy that was. Yeah, chaotic. And I actually had 3 kids in 3 different schools.
Yeah,
so I
remember
one
that.
Was in daycare. I had one that was in elementary school. I had one that was in middle school at the time.
Yep.
So that was really nutty. And then our girls were in different cheer gyms too. Yeah. So like our paths didn't even cross there. So it was just kind of
but they did cross at summer camp.
At summer camp, that's right. Yep.
Summer camp, they crossed paths again.
All the kids would hang out during the day together at summer camp and
send
pictures.
Not that we didn't, but we didn't hang in that capacity because again we were still doing life, and then and then you were like, why are we not Facebook friends anymore?
I know. This bitch unfriended me. It's bullshit.
Nope, I didn't do it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
My oldest had started getting into my Facebook and scrolling through things, and I don't know how, because you weren't the only person that she unfriended. I had no idea.
She's like, Lina? Nope.
Yeah, I was like, no. Like, you were like, yeah, we're not Facebook friends anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was like, did I do something? I was like, I haven't seen the girls, and usually, like, you know, you post a picture, like, you see what's going on, but I haven't seen them, and I went to go look and see how life is and what's going on, and
you're not your friend anymore. And I was like, I didn't even know. Because, like I said, she had just started getting into Facebook and she was, like, trying to see what it was all about. So I wasn't getting her own Facebook. I was like, just go look on mine. It's fine. You know, like, there's nothing on my Facebook that she can't see.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you know, how do you friend and unfriend? And I'm like, I don't know, figure it, because I don't typically unfriend people, you know, like, what do I need to unfriend people? I don't post a lot on social media to begin with. Yeah. So she went on this, like, binge of friending people and unfriending people. I don't even know who she unfriended. So.
Unfriended and offended.
Yeah. So when you texted me, you're like, why are we not Facebook friends? I'm like, you're like, did I do something? I'm like, no. No, you did not. Like, this life. And
so then it was even funnier. So then after that, I had messaged you and I was like, hey, so like, I know this is going to sound really weird. And I was like, but I know that your ex-husband used to like do side work for me on the side. I was like, and I kind of like need my deck stained. Would you mind if I asked him? Because I wanted to make sure you were cool with it.
Absolutely.
I reached out to him. And you're like, yeah, no big deal, no big deal. So it was really funny.
So that just goes to show you that even though we're exes, we're still on good terms.
Yeah, no, totally. And just goes to show you how cool I am with everybody, because here I am, like, he's doing work at my house while the kids are here, and I'm feeding the kids, and I'm feeding him, and then, you know, when they left, then I'm going out with you, and, you know, we're doing stuff together. So it's just kind of funny how all of the paths kind of intertwine. But everybody gets along. Everybody's copacetic, and it's good. Go to the girls' like soccer games and different events and stuff, and we're all there together.
The little one's playing soccer this spring.
I can't wait to see her play.
It's gonna be interesting.
I wonder if she's gonna be scared of the ball.
Probably.
Yeah. It was like my daughter. She did when I was trying to have her not do cheer. We did the season of soccer, and my dad was so excited because my dad actually played professional soccer in Poland. So he's like, oh my God, one of the kids finally gonna play soccer. Like, so my dad's souped. So he brings like the chairs and the whole setup and everything. And so, like, my daughter's on the field, the game starts, and, like, she's running, and she's, like, stopping, and she's waving, and she's like, hi, Jaju! And he's like, go, run after the ball!
That's gonna be the little one. She's not, she's gonna be, hi, Mom! I'm like, no, that way.
Yeah. So, like, ball would come near her, she'd go running, screaming, and he's like, get the ball! And she's like, what? And he's like, get the ball! So, like, she picks up the ball with her hands, and, like, blows a thing. And he's like, don't touch the ball! She's like, you told me to get the ball! And now she's getting all upset, and my dad's like, all right, I guess maybe just soccer's not gonna be her thing. I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be her thing. But I tried. I was like, you know, maybe you just want the, like, competitiveness of cheer, so we're going to try soccer. That didn't work. I'm like, but, like, cheerleaders, they dance, so let's try dance. We did dance for a year. She's like, no, I liked it, but, like, that's not what I want to do. I'm like, oh, well, they tumble. Let's do gymnastics. So we tried gymnastics. She's like, that was great, but, like, not the cheer that I wanted to do. And that's when we did the Pop Warner. And she's like, Mom, this is, like, more along the lines, but, like, I want to do, like, the competition cheer. And I was like, fuck my life, because I know it is over.
Yeah. And it's expensive. I don't miss it.
It's expensive. Yeah.
Especially when you get into the All-Star.
Oh my God. The uniforms themselves were $600. You have to pay for the bows. You have to pay, the sneakers are like $115, and they're super shitty, and they rip all the time. Practice wear. You have like 3 different outfits of practice wear. The one gym we went to, if you wore the wrong outfit of practice wear, because it was coordinated on certain days, they automatically purchase a new piece of practice wear and just add it to your account. Your kid comes home with new practice wear.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the Devil's Gym.
Oh.
That's why we didn't last there very long.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah. The owner of the gym, her daughter, decided one day she was going to tell my daughter she was disgusting. So my daughter came home.
How do you do that?
And she was all upset. And I'm like, tell me what happened. She didn't want to tell me because she knows how I am. And so she finally tells me, and she's like, my coach told me I was disgusting. I was like, she did she? She's like, yep. So I walked in the office when the owner and the daughter were both in the office. And I walked up to the owner and I said, your daughter's disgusting.
Good for you.
And the look on her face, I go, how does it make you feel as a mother to hear a grown woman tell you that your daughter is disgusting?
Yeah.
And neither of them knew what to say or do. And the mother was obviously confused. And I looked at the daughter, I go, you want to tell your mother why I'm asking that question? Would you like to tell her, or do you want me to tell her that you called my daughter disgusting?
Yeah.
And at that point, I think they just didn't know what to do. And I'm like, this will be the first and last time I ever have this conversation with either of you. And neither of them said a word. And I walked around and I walked my ass out.
I don't blame you.
And that's why I said I wasn't going to make it very long. But the owner of that gym, she was actually telling the girls what to eat when they were getting too heavy. She was telling them they didn't look good in their uniforms.
I have no tolerance for that.
Yeah.
I have no tolerance for that whatsoever.
It was not healthy.
That was one thing. Like, we were at 2 different gyms, and we never had those issues at either one of our gyms. Yeah. Now, granted, my kids were young when they did it, so I don't know. But I have friends who are still in the cheer world, and my girlfriend, she's got 2 girls who are still cheering at the gym that we used to cheer at, and her daughters are 14 and 16. Yeah. And as far as I know, there is no comment about what the kids look like in uniforms, who doesn't look perfect. They don't make those comments at all. So as a mom hearing that would infuriate me.
Yeah, it was just definitely not a healthy environment. Not only did they try to control the kids, but they always also tried to control the parents. And anybody who knows me knows that was not going to happen. And the way that they would speak to us, like we were doing them a favor. I'm like, I'm paying you over $1,000 a month. You are providing a service to my child. You work for me, basically. Yeah. Like, no, this is not, trying to tell us what we could do, how we could do it. You weren't cheering loud enough. You weren't screaming loud enough. You didn't cheer on the other team. You didn't come here. You didn't do this. And it's like, I'm not doing this. Like, This
is something we need to dive into on another episode, like a deep dive on competitive cheer between you and I and the experiences.
Oh, yeah.
I could tell you some stories that...
And between all the gyms we've been at, too.
Yeah. Well, you've been at 3 gyms. 3 gyms, and we've been at 2 gyms. So, and one of the gyms we've both been at together. Yeah. So that would be something interesting to compare notes on.
Oh, I have stories for days.
All right. Well, let's hold that for another episode because we're pushing time here. But this was fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing where the show goes and what direction we go in and what other topics we get into. But I'm really looking forward to getting questions and just participation from listeners and viewers because we're going to post this not only on wherever you get your podcasts at, be it Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. We're gonna do a video podcast on YouTube as well. So definitely look out for that. And we need to get social media up and running, and we'll post it all out there.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining us. Yeah. Like, if you listen to our intro, they say, like, it sounds like a chat with your 2 besties because that's what it is. That's what it is. It's like the 2 of us getting together, being together. And sometimes when other people overhear the things we're talking about, they just laugh. And it's kind of like, why don't we let everybody laugh? Like, this is great. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully you laughed with us a little bit and you're getting to know the core of who we are and the new me. She's here to stay.
All right, so hopefully we'll be back in about a week with our next episode, and that is our tentative plan to post once a week, and we'll take it from there.
Thanks for joining us on 2 Voices,
1 Vibe.